Yo, 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 yo. Yo, what is going on, guys? We're having a fantastic day today. So we have Nick Sirianni at the owners' meetings. A lot of things have happened. Want to talk about what he said during this meeting, this press conference. Few things that are pretty interesting. I had to kind of take some stuff out, take some tweets out, and kind of talk and reminisce on some things, which I think some of you guys will have a lot of interest in. Get a little bit more information on coaching, players, you name it. We got some nuggets here, so let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
So having these owner meetings, especially with the coaches, the head coaches being there, the GMs being there as well, you get more of an insight on your roster, maybe your coaching staff, what's going on with trades, rumors possibly kind of leaking a little bit. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, it really comes down to the coaching and the players and what's been really going on. Nick had a lot to say, and even talking about Jalen Hurts from really the start of this whole thing. And Hurts has been a total maniac at the NovaCare complex working out. I know people are going to be like, well, him working out, what's the big deal? All the players do that. And to be honest, guys, this time of the year, there's not a lot of players at their facilities working out. They're either on their own time or whatever, but Hurts being in his own facility, not even being at his home or being at a private gym or whatnot, being at the Eagles facility working out. And Nick Sirianni had a lot of praise even after the Super Bowl. I've never seen a kid so much hungrier to step back into this whole thing. And Jalen Hurts is just a rare specimen breed of a human being. We thought he worked his tail off last offseason, getting into that Super Bowl, obviously losing, and then going back to this offseason. Hurts is more hungry than ever, and this is why players gravitate towards him. This is why players want to play for him and will stay for him. This couldn't be, we know what Jalen Hurts, we know what he is. We know what he's about. The guy is just a fighter every single day, every single year, especially this is really another year even after a Super Bowl loss. And it looks like this man is not going to stop until he gets a trophy, and then he's going to want more and more and more. I like what I'm hearing. I like, and this is a guy that's at the complex from 5 a.m. to, at night, looking at tape, looking at things he can get better with, probably on the field by himself doing some things. We're going to see a lot of training from Jalen Hurts and, bringing these receivers and, getting the team back together this year, this offseason. And I'm really excited for it. I really am. I think Hurts is going to be more dangerous this year. I think a lot of teams need to watch out, especially, with this offense still intact, what it is today. So Jalen Hurts is a monster in the workout room right now. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now, Sirianni did talk about Marcus Mariota going back to the quarterback room. And obviously, when he was with Frank Reich, with the Colts, they did scout out Mariota a few times and had a lot of interest in him. I think his work ethic, I think they like his work ethic. Obviously, the same somewhat skill set that they both have with those RPOs, read options, which it's going to help Brian Johnson a whole lot because you don't really have to change your offense too much, which I think is really going to help. And Mariota's never on social media. I don't think Mariota has social media. As I can remember, he's never on. I don't think he even has social media accounts. But Marcus Mariota, why not? For $5 million, you get a guy that has been a starter, has been a backup, has been downgraded, has been hurt. I mean, you pretty much got, he's been through almost everything, but he's another guy that kind of strives to get better every single year, no matter what, the situation is. I mean, this is a guy 8 years ago that the Eagles could have had as a quarterback in the building with Chip Kelly, giving away the farm to move up with that first overall pick, but it never happened. But glad to see him in the room. I actually thought this was one, I think another very underrated signing at backup, and I didn't think they'd go for a vet. I didn't really think Mariota would have been that cheap. I thought he would have been a little bit more expensive than that, but that's a pretty good price. And for Brian Johnson not to change too much of the play calling, to keep everything the same the way it is, I had a big problem with Minshew being thrown into a Jalen Hurts system when Jalen Hurts got hurt in that Bears game, and we could have clinched the number 1 seed a lot earlier, but they did a really bad job with just throwing Minshew in there, and obviously the threat of not having Minshew with his legs, it makes defenses hone in on that running back a lot easier just to get pressure. And here, I think with Mariota, do I think he's as good as Hurts with the RPO with the read option? Definitely not. But I think, is he good enough to get it done with the weapons he has in this offense? I think he would strive very well. Obviously, a lot of incentives in that deal, so it goes up to like $8 million or something, so he can get a pretty penny. But obviously, knock on wood, you don't want Jalen Hurts hurt, but if he has to step in for a couple games, or if you have a backup quarterback that has to play half of the season, then those incentives are there, so he can get more money if he becomes the starting quarterback. So I think this was probably one of the most underrated signings. I think, really probably our most expensive signing at $5 million. The Eagles haven't really spent over $2 million on really one player as is. So, a lot talked about Mariota. Now, I think this one, everyone's going to want to hear this because they've been asking me this every week since the beginning of last year. Well, since he got here and since the Jaguars game every single week, and that's Trey Sermon. Nick Sirianni likes Trey Sermon, and honestly, they're not going to say bad about players, in public like this because they just don't say bad things. But, yeah, Sirianni, said some things, and, he says, man, this guy got a chance to be really good. I wish we can get him touches. I get it. He even talks about him at practice, making a cut. You just saw him in pads on the meet, and made a play on screen or whatever. He makes guys miss. Trey Sermon was an interesting one to me because the whole story about the Trey Sermon thing was he was actually the Eagles want to trade for him. The Eagles had high interest in trading for Trey Sermon when he was with the 49ers. Then the 49ers put him, released him. They put him on the waiver wire. The Eagles picked him up off of the waiver wire, and we got him. And we had him for that. We had him for that Jaguars game in bad weather at home in Philadelphia. We had him in for 2 snaps, and he ran really good. Really good. Made a couple guys miss. Had one, I think, run to the left and a run up the middle, and that was pretty much it. But Sirianni did say at this press conference that he really likes him, and, he thinks he can be a really good player. I think Sirianni likes these big backs, especially guys that can catch out of the backfield, which they haven't tried with him because, like I said, he only had 2 snaps in that one game, and they never started him another game, never activated him for another game. No other team has gone on our practice squad and picked him off, surprisingly. So, you're going to have Kennedy Brooks in there this offseason, which I think he needs more of a chance. Trey Sermon needs more of a chance. Trey Sermon should get a lot more of a chance because I think he could be a receiving back, a nice elusive bruiser type back for us as well. That's why I think Bijan Robinson is the pick of this draft, because I feel like they've had interest in running backs like this, and to obviously get one, and maybe, maybe they don't. Maybe they like Trey Sermon. Maybe Trey Sermon will be in the lineup and they don't draft a running back this year. The possibilities are definitely open right now, but I think they should give this man more of a chance. I feel like they should give him a chance. At least let him compete. But the problem is, with only 2 preseason games, not 4 anymore, and Sirianni does value the joint practices over preseason games. That's just the truth to it all, because he feels like it's more competitive and these guys are actually trying. And plus, the starters are playing during joint practices, because once preseason comes for 2 games, it's already enough the Eagles don't have those mandatory workouts. They're one of 2 teams that don't have those workouts or whatever, that mandatory camp or whatever it's called that they have in the beginning, like the 1st in April, they have that beginning camp. That the Eagles are one of those teams that doesn't have that, because they, Sirianni talked about, not get, because of injury, and you don't want these guys get injured early and stuff like that, but they will have those workouts when they're lifting and stuff like that, which is good. But I would give this a shot. At least give him some reps during joint practices or whatnot, and let him, maybe let him roll with the ones for a little bit and see what he could do. I don't know. Something to see what you have, because like I said, if you had 4 preseason games, they'd have more of an opportunity, but because you don't, it's it's a little annoying sometimes. And trust me, I the less preseason games, the less likely injury, which is good. You know what I mean? So he likes Trey Sermon a lot, says all these great things. I mean, get this guy more touches, see what he could do. That's what we always wanted. I swear to God, every video, every stream last year was every single week of Trey Sermon. Are they going to use Trey Sermon? I wanted more. It just wasn't enough for me. Now, since Miles Sanders isn't here, you have Gainwell, you have Rashad Penny, you have Boston Scott now. Why not sprinkle him in a little bit? Just see what he could do. I'm not even saying to the regular season, but right now, I mean, once you get the camp and all of that, give this guy more of an opportunity. See what you got. I've liked him. I think Kenny Brooks might be able to do something, maybe, but he played in like one preseason game for a few snaps. I mean, you're not going to have a big opportunity anymore in these preseason games since we only have half the month of preseason games, which is 2 games. So, the Trey Sermon thing is really interesting, and I hope we find something out of it, man. It would be fantastic. I'd be very happy about it. So we'll find out. And another thing Sirianni talked about was, I talked about even Sean Desai as well. It talked about Sean Desai and saying about Sean Desai that this defense is obviously, and I think we've already knew this, that the philosophy of Sean Desai is almost the same as Gannon's. But we've looked at the blitz rate. We've looked at 9.5% from Gannon, 23.6. The average is 25% blitz rate, more aggressive. Okay, Sirianni did say had long talks with Sean Desai, and yeah, he said the philosophy is going to be very different, which is a good sign. So I can't even complain about it whatsoever, okay? At least Nick saying that really made me happy that it's going to be a different philosophy. Thank God, okay? And that's a good thing. Look, back in 2021, look, Sean Desai under Vic Fangio as an apprentice, quality control defensive guy for a few years with the Bears. 21 became the defensive coordinator for the Bears. Was a top 10 defense against the pass. Okay, bottom 10 against the run, so they have to work on that. But blitz rate was 23.6%, or 22. It was 23.6% between those two numbers. Okay, top 5 in sacks. I mean, it's. He had a lot less talent in that defense with the Bears in 21 and still pulled off not a horrible season. It's just they were just kind of bad against the run. Probably didn't have the pieces up front, to be honest. Probably didn't have the linebackers at the time. Who knows at this point? But to be honest with you guys, this is good news. This is great. And Gannon literally losing that Super Bowl in the second half, leaving him in Arizona, kicking him out the plane and keeping him in Arizona was the best thing possible the Eagles could have done. I think fans need to give Sean Desai a chance because there really wasn't much coaches out there. I mean, even the Eagles went outside to the college ranks to get the one from, just from Glenn Schumann and some of these other guys, these other defensive corners that are available. You gotta give someone a chance to see if they will take it. And who knows, Sean Desai might be a really good coach. I think this might be the best roster that Sean Desai has had defensively. I think it's going to be, and I think we'll do a really good job. I think we'll know how to use these corners and benefit these other players from doing certain things. He knows how to create pressure. That's what I like about Sean Desai a lot. But like I said, the only bad statistic about Sean Desai is really against the run game. He was bottom 10 against the run. That's really it. But who knows what he had that year. He's not the GM. He's not putting the guys on the team. So he's with Howie Roseman now, and Howie Roseman is putting talent back into this this defense. And trust me, this defense needs to be average at best. Just make some stops because this offense, as much as I want to add more firepower to it, I want to score 35-plus points a game. I want to get back into that Super Bowl. I want to get this ring that we definitely deserve. And I think you got to keep what's intact, and I think your offense is very much intact. Sean Desai should be tested with less talent, to be honest with you, which I think this roster is not going to be as loaded as last year. I think we all know this. Okay, we definitely all know that. But look, just everybody's got to give him a chance. But to hear Nick say it's going to be different, that's a really, really, really good sign. at least if it's different, I'll be happy. If it's different and bad, at least I can accept that it's at least different. At this point, I don't know. But everyone have faith. Everyone don't jump off the Sean Desai wagon. We haven't even got a press conference from him yet, so hopefully really soon we'll get one. So I definitely like that news. That one kind of put a smile on my face just a little bit. And obviously we have news on the Quez Watkins situation. Okay, now Nick did talk about, when you look at the when you don't look at the stat sheet, what he could do on the field, blah, 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 saying all this great stuff about him. But the issue I have, and he did say the offense runs through Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert, which I 100% agree with. This is a pass-first offense, 100%. He said that since the beginning of this year, that the offense runs through those two receivers and that tight end. Okay, being a number 3 receiver, you got to be ready for the pass. There was a lot of plays from Quez Watkins, okay, but besides that grade 2 shoulder sprain that we talked about, it was never unveiled that he even had it. They phased him out of the offense later in the season, more double tight end sets. More Zach Pascal. I mean, especially when Dallas Goedert went down on top of it, they had to implement, I think when Dallas Goedert went down, Quez was phased out of this offense. They attacked more with Devontae Smith, which I really liked. He was on the comebacks, the little short rat. He was doing all these little things. Like, if they're attacking with A.J. Brown so much, why don't they attack with Devontae Smith? And that's what they did. I mean, they really attacked with him, and I really liked that a lot. But as a number 3 wide receiver, and at the beginning of the year was great from Quez, but Quez made some big time drops. Obviously the one in the Super Bowl was huge. There were some times as a number 3 receiver, you don't know if you're going to get the ball. That's the only problem with some of these. As a number 3, you don't know when you're going to get the ball. So you have to go 100% every single play, because God knows when Jalen Hurts does those checkdowns, he's going to find you open. There was a few passes this year where Hurts had a really good throw, and Quez looked like he just wasn't ready for the pass half the time. And that's the reason. That's why I would hate to be a wide receiver 3, because you're not guaranteed to get the ball every single play. And the less of the other talents on this team, you're just not going to get it. And I think that was a major problem with Quez. It sounds like he's going to be in the building. I don't think they're drafting a receiver this year to replace him. I don't know. Definitely not first round. But, there's no one else on the free agent market that they could pick up. I don't know if they really have any interest in getting another guy. Or at least from the undrafted free agent pool, I would try to get somebody in here that's going to compete with Quez. He needs competition. There's no doubt about it. Needs competition. We've talked about it a million times. And I like Quez Watkins a lot. He's cheap for the year. It's not like he's expensive. He's like $2-point-something million for the year. So he's not expensive, but he's got to put in the work. If we had a bona fide number 3, God knows how many games would save us. The attention that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas got, just the attention that, and even Jalen Hurts, on those read options, he gets a lot of attention, and guys get tricked out on those RPOs. It's, if you have a wide receiver, your third wide receiver that's really working really good, and I feel like he's got it. It's just, he's just had some hiccups this past year. And I feel like as every game that he plays consistently or doesn't play consistently, because I don't know why they put that big pass on him in that Super Bowl with that big drop. He's not even in consistent games, and you're giving him the biggest pass of the Super Bowl. I don't know. I didn't get why they used him the way they did in the Super Bowl. If you were kind of phasing him out, why did you give him more opportunity in the Super Bowl than really any other games? You know what I mean? I know it's a team sport. I know other guys have to play. I know there's nobody else on the roster, because really, look at the backside of our receivers. You got Devin Allen, you got Britton Covey, you got Greg Ward. Nick Sirianni doesn't like Greg Ward. Doug Pearson liked Greg Ward. Lord, what the hell? I feel that's the whole truth with that too. So, oh, man, it's a lot. But Quez, man, I like Quez. I do, but he's got to be more ready for these passes, man. You can't take a play off. And I feel like he's taken some playoffs. He's not expecting the ball on a certain play, but you got to expect it every single time. You can't take a play off as a wide receiver 3. You just can't do it. So, it's just kind of crazy, man. So I don't know. I mean, it sounds like he's staying here, but, they're not going to say anything bad about these players. They're not going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to trade him. They're not going to say any of that. We all know this. But it's an eye opener to say, maybe they have to do something. They have to give him competition. Covey's not competition. Devin Allen's not competition. Greg Ward's not competition. Maybe Greg Ward is competition because he has a lot of starting experience with his team. So we'll see. Reed Blankenship is another one, and he had said some things to say about Reed Blankenship. So he said that we've had confidence in him since 16-4 team last year to start games. So we have a lot of confidence that he could do the same thing this year. I mean, it sounds like Reed Blankenship is going to be starting. Like that's what it sounds like. I really like how Reed Blankenship played last year. Came in for Chauncey, did a really good job. He gave us a really good sample size. I think his coverage is a little but his tackling and his hard hitting, he's a thumper at the position, and I like how he loves taking, giving big hits, and I really like that with him. So giving him more of an opportunity now next to Terrell Edmunds, this could be pretty nice going down the road. You know what I mean? They added Justin Evans to the positions to give more competition with Kevon Wallace and some of the other guys. So I feel like there's something there, and I do like Reed Blankenship a lot. I think Reed, like I said, gave us a nice sample size. I still want more. I still need to see more competition to see how he does this offseason. But to put an undrafted rookie last year in there and then really pop out like that, it really showed a lot. Hope Sean Desai uses these safeties great. I hope Terrell Edmunds has a monster season, which I think he will. I think he's one of the most underrated signings on this team. And there's a lot of them here, only getting paid $2 million for the year. So, I mean, I think your safety position, they've already hit on that position 2 times. This offseason, and adding Blankenship to that is just another luxury. I'm actually really happy that they didn't go out and get like an old vet that wasn't great last year after Chauncey went down. I'm actually really glad that they gave Reed Blankenship a chance. Like an undrafted rookie, man, they gave him a chance. Like, you don't see that happen too often. Maybe just, let's throw him in there, see what he could do. Obviously, during game time, you got to throw somebody in there. So they didn't even throw Kevon in there. They threw him in there, man, and he showed, man. I mean, I see him as really just a guy that's going to make, tackles. If running backs are coming upfield and making tackles, like, I don't see him much of it as a coverage type guy, but, you never know what you're going to get with him. You know what I mean? Keep him vertical. Just keep him vertical. Have him run downhill. That's what I like to see with Reed Blankenship in this defense because he definitely packs a punch, and I think we've already kind of witnessed that a few times, which I'm really happy about. I'm glad Marcus Epps is gone, and Chauncey is what it is going to the Lions. So I think they've replaced him great with Terrell Edmunds. Obviously, you got 5 picks in 5 years, but I think you got to relax on that situation because now Terrell Edmunds is going to be in a much better defense now with 2 pretty good outside cornerbacks, and it's going to make the safety's job a lot easier to make plays. So we'll hold on to that for the time being. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. We talked about Nick Sirianni. A lot of things happen. This is a lot of information here, a lot to kind of push in a little bit. Absorb. To talk about Jalen Hurts, to talk about, Trey Sermon, the questions with Sean Desai. We haven't got a press conference yet, a different philosophy. And obviously the Quez Watkins situation and giving him competition. Do they like him? Do they want to keep him? I mean, I still think it's a big question mark right now, but I think definitely, I think we just got to give it more time, man. We have a lot of time. We still got, the offseason's not over. The Eagles are still trying to make moves, and obviously, 2 first-round picks in this draft. So Nick said a lot of great things, a lot of good information today, I gotta say. So if you lasted 23 minutes in this video, and I'm sorry it took so long, but this is what it is, guys. This information is long. Can't make it any worse than that. So if you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video as well if you guys haven't. I cover the Eagles every single day and all the news in general. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shake Squad up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.